meeting of the Board of Appeals of the Town of Duxbury to order for this evening. We have a relatively limited agenda, but before we do anything, pursuant to the Chapter 2 of the Acts of 2023, this meeting will be conducted in person and as a courtesy via remote means in accordance with the applicable law. Please note that while an option for remote attendance and/or participation is being provided as a courtesy to the public and board members, the hearing will not be suspended or terminated if technological reasons interrupt the virtual broadcast unless required by law. The meeting will be recorded by PAC TV. Members of the public who wish to watch the meeting may do so by viewing the information about Duxbury programming, including you can watch it on Verizon 39 or Comcast 9 or on the Duxbury YouTube channel. All right. This is a new application, so we'll read the. Let me just start with, is the applicant here?
He's on.
The applicant is here.
Okay, good. All right. So, all right. The Board of Appeals will hold a public hearing in Mural Room 878 Tremont Street and via Zoom tonight to consider the application of Stephen and Megan Delano for a special permit under Articles 400 and 900, Sections 401.2, number 4, 410.1, 410.4, and 906.2 of the Duxbury Protective Bylaw. The property is located at 70 Sewell Avenue, parcel number 097-959-209 of the Duxbury Assessor's Map, consisting of 0.15 acres in the residential compatibility district and owned by the applicants, who propose to raise and rebuild a pre-existing non-conforming dwelling. A special permit is required. The application can be viewed at the town's website or in person at the Municipal Services Department. And for folks who are differently able, we will make accommodation. Great. So among the materials that we received is an application, including several pictures, the site plan, some design plans, memos from the other boards, the interim health agent, sitting right over there, says the Board of Health has approved an application for a disposal system construction permit. The approved system shall be installed in conjunction with a building permit.
How many bedrooms?
4.
Okay. Existing?
I'm not sure.
It can't be, it can't be.
Do we have two existing?
Two existing?
Two.
It doesn't,
Call it.
I'll let you go, sorry.
That's okay.
Haven't started.
Nancy Ruffo, the Conservation Administrator, sent a memo, said, I have reviewed this case and determined it does not fall within the jurisdiction of the Concom. No further review is required. We got a memo from the Design Review Board describing the project and making recommendations with respect to height, massing, and scale, and certain architectural details. The board would like to see additional modifications to the design to lessen the impact on the streetscape and refinement of some of the architectural details. The design board understands the challenges of designing a home for a substandard lot, but it's the design review's board's duty and responsibility to make suggestions that encourage design that are in keeping with the character of the neighborhood. Among the issues raised, the board recommends the removal of the gabled form on the third story of the front facade to reduce the overall height and scale of the structure. The Longshed dormer works to accommodate interior program within a structure, but given the appearance of the third story structure as the dormer fills up the entire roof surface, the board suggests the architect consider smaller individual dormers to break up the mass on the roof. The board suggests a 2.5-story bump out at the front of the house. The board suggests a rectangular garage door or to potentially remove the overhang over the garage door. Consider reducing the overall length of the overhang at the front door. The oval window adjacent to the garage seems out of scale with the other windows on the facade. The elevations note materials, but there's no rendering to reference the color palette of the proposed home. The board suggests the generation of a simple colored rendering for review. At the memo from the planning board reflects a 5-0 vote to defer judgment to this board, referencing the interim planner's report, where the interim planner reviewed the application and made some analysis under the bylaw that similar to the bylaw analysis that we're required to make. We have abutters letters that indicate the support from Ellen Warble of 25 Brewster Street, 39 Soul Ave, which is Linda Schoberg, support from Jonathan Mark at 17 Sanger Road, support from, again, another form letter from Jonathan Mark, Ellen Fitz of 15 Brewster Street, 94 and 49 Soul Ave, which are Deborah Parker and Anne Marie Dunlap, David and Leah Murphy of 7 Sanger, William Driscoll and Christine Driscoll of 74 Soul Ave, the Hanfield Stephanie Hanfield at 88 Soul Ave, Carolyn Kemp at 67 Soul Ave, 56 Soul Ave is Don Beers, Stephen Delano at 0 Pilgrim Road, Alice Kearney at 79 Soul Ave, Charles and Susan Rourke at 63 Soul Ave, Mr. James Deneen and Margot Wilson at 12 Brewster Street, Mary Carbone at 64 Soul Ave, Peter Burnett at 11 Spruce Lane, Marcy Lucier at 50 Priscilla Ave, and Emily McKinsey at 43 Priscilla Ave. We have a memo from Mr. Wazalewski, Director of Municipal Services, indicating as follows. The proposed building height is within the limits of the zoning bylaw. The encroachment of the bulkhead is permitted provided it does not exceed 30 square feet. Bulkheads are considered steps provided there is no roof structure, doghouse over them. And the proposed coverage calculations on the plot plan are accurate. Anything else?
That's everything, Mr. Chair.
All right, so here's how we do it. We'll first hear from the applicant. The board will ask questions of the applicant. Once the board has done that, we'll open it up for public comment. Anybody who'd like to make public comment, if you're in this room, please step to the mic and introduce yourself and provide your address. If you're doing it via Zoom, introduce yourself and provide your address. So let's hear first from the applicant as to what the applicant is proposing.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Good evening. My name is Steve Delano. I'm the applicant and property owner. I'm accompanied by my wife, Megan. Thank you for reviewing our application here. Everything that has gone through thus far is accurate. I just want to stress the fact that a couple things. Number one, we are born and raised in the town of Duxbury and really excited to return and build this house on some legacy family property. wife's side. As you can see, there's overwhelming support from the neighbors, the abutters. We went around and introduced ourselves to upwards of 20 and received 20 letters in support. So really excited that the neighborhood is welcoming. They've seen the plans, and so really excited about that. And I mean, ultimately, yeah, we're taking down a dilapidated, non-historical, non-conforming structure. We're trying to correct the setbacks on the side and keep that same line of sight that's been in existence since 1930. And as you can see from the pictures, it is in quite tough shape. It is, could be described as dilapidated and uninhabitable, overgrown, of course. And so, again, the neighbors are really excited to see this project move forward. And I just also want to thank Jim, the building commissioner, who's worked quite closely with us on the design. We've made some alterations. We're both happy with where it landed.
No, just echoing everything Steve said. We've been working on this design for a couple of years now, and we're excited to get back to the community and be a part of it again. So.
All right, does the board have questions?
I do, but go ahead.
Go ahead, Judy.
Well, you know, I always take the design review board's comments pretty seriously. I have found them very helpful, and I'm wondering what the applicant has done or plans to do to address as many of those comments as possible. There are quite a few.
Are there any in particular you want to start with? I mean, some are.
No, I think it would be helpful if you kind of went through their list of recommendations and told us what your plans are to try to address them.
So I think the first one is the removal of the gable form on the third story.
Yep.
Facade. The way that we thought about this and designed it is such that it's within the height requirements. We have a 4-person, 1-dog family. We're trying to maximize space. We're open to suggestions, but we've worked really long and hard on this design. It's in compliance, and that's what we'd like to move forward with, is what you see on paper. The long shed dormer, number 2. Again, we're trying to maximize space. Could we look at a smaller dormer? Yes. Not sure if that really, it doesn't change the height of the structure, it just changes the look and feel of it. So again, open to suggestions there, but not something that we necessarily want to do. We've actually played with that. It really shrinks that that 3rd floor, which is the master bedroom, kind of turns it into a bowling alley and isn't really suitable, frankly. So we would like to keep that shed dormer. Number 3 is the 2.5-story bump out at the front of the house. As an alternative, I'm just refreshing myself on what exactly they're asking for.
So,
Yeah, on the left-hand side, the right side of the structure is bumped out 2 feet, 2.5 feet. I guess I'm not fully convinced as to, I don't know if you're.
if the benefit outweighs the burden to the structure, that would be a significant square footage takeaway from the house, especially on the 1st floor where we're really striving to have at least a 1-car garage. We'd love to, but there would not be enough space for living room. So it would be a significant deficit and burden to the interior of the structure to accommodate that request.
Yeah, they're asking for a rectangular structure. We're trying to give it some depth and some contrast from the street. So again, open to different design ideas, but as of right now, we're pleased with where we have it. The architectural details, so 1A, a rectangular garage door. Okay, that's fine. This is just a conceptual design. We're not hung up on a rounded garage door. 1B would be the overall length of the overhang on the front door. We would be open to that, sure. Again, this is just to add a little bit of contrast and a little bit of design flair. So we stretched it along the whole front facade there. The oval window seems out of scale. It may be out of scale, but we just wanted to add a little bit of a little differentiation instead of just a traditional window. So we could shrink that or look at a different design. We're certainly open to that. And 1D is, yes, there's no color palette. We have not selected any colors. We don't have a 3D drawing. That was not an option from our architect. Well, it was, but he didn't want to do it, and he really wanted to charge a lot more money for it. So we just said, let's do a simple 2D drawing. Color palette would be very similar to what you see in that neighborhood currently, which is a lot of grays and whites. So nothing out of the ordinary. So I think we've covered everything. Is there any other additional questions or comments?
And just, yeah, the architectural details, a lot of that will be covered with the builder selecting and doing that, but we will keep with the character of the neighborhood. Open to any questions there.
Judy, are you?
I don't know that I have a question. I guess my only comment right now is that the design review board's job is to help evaluate these projects in the context of neighborhood character. And there are a number of comments here that I think I would like to see you try to do more to address. I have a problem with the idea of taking the house down and building a new house. I think it's great, but I don't usually see this many comments from the design review board on a building, and I think that we would, just speaking for myself, I think I'd like you to do more work on this and see what you can address.
Okay, appreciate that.
I'd like to weigh in. I think you can paint your house any color you want.
I'm not worried about the color.
Right, but the design review board is.
Well, they have application requirements.
Yeah, okay. Freeman, you had questions?
I was wondering if there's a reserve area for the septic system.
Yes, to replace it down the road?
Yes.
Yes, that was accommodated in the engineering.
So all I see is a primary leaching facility on the plan, and I'm wondering where the reserve area is.
Remember, we covered that topic with them.
It may not be called out on this drawing,
We could ask for
but
it.
we could certainly ask for it. It also is worth mentioning that we do own the back lot as well.
It seems to me as though if you're going to increase flows from 2 to 4 bedrooms, Title V requires a reserve area.
Right.
Yes, I agree. We did cover that with the engineer, so I know it was thought of.
But the current proposed septic that you see there is suitable for 4. That's been stamped.
Yep. Is the reserve area on the adjacent lot, maybe?
No,
No, we're not using it adjacent lot at this point.
So how is it going to conform?
we would have to just
Yeah,
meet the engineer to get you the drawing with the included.
I think Lauren's got it up on the screen now.
This is what the health. This plan is what the health agent approved.
Okay, so the bottom left there.
I'm a little confused. It looks like the inset to the left shows 4 trenches, but the main design in the backyard shows 4 rows of arc 36 chambers. I'm confused.
Yeah, me too.
Okay. I cannot speak to this, but I'll have the engineer speak to it.
Freeman, maybe this is, wouldn't they need to have passing Title V in order to get a building permit?
Not if it's a new system, they need a code compliant system.
Okay,
I would imagine if they built the 4 trenches as shown in that inset, that it would be code compliant, if that fits in there.
We just need to know how they're gonna do it.
But I don't know how they can show the 4 trenches and actually build something different. Maybe that's okay, I'm not 100% sure. Another question I had is, I heard there's quite a few letters of support. Are all the direct abutters in support of the project?
I believe so, we haven't had any,
There's one lot on the back that we do not have their letter, but they've not shown opposition.
and I believe they had a call into the building inspector to ask about us building on the back lot, which the building inspector confirmed we are not building on the back lot, only the lot on Soul Ave. So we don't have any opposing letters or opposing feedback, but we only received back, we spoke with people in person, sat in their living rooms, some of them gave them to us right there, and some of them mailed it back. I don't even know the total number that we knocked on, but we went pretty far into the neighborhood.
North of 20, we did not get any opposition, and unless you all are hearing and seeing it, and we do not. We know we have support from the Driscoll to the north. Obviously, we own the lot to the west, the Carbones to the south, and then there's some folks across Soul Ave, which is where Sanger Road is, and it's Jonathan Mark and a few other folks.
Yeah, so I'd say
They're all in support, so
the
really,
direct abutters, yes, it's just that back lot, if you're counting that as an abutter, or the back lot is technically us.
Well, you're not required to come to us with a letter of support from every abutter. You're really not. I mean, it's up to the board to determine, based on the evidence we have, whether a project will be substantially more detrimental to the neighborhood. So abutter support helps, but abutters don't get to decide what somebody's going to do with their property. They just have a right to comment to the board.
yeah.
I agree with that.
So, I guess in lots of ways, this proposal is a little more conforming. Certainly, there's a little bit on front setback. You bring it into conformity on side setback. Rear setback was already conforming. You go from 8.5% building coverage to 21%. That's because you're using the benefit of the discretionary 3% rule?
that's correct.
Correct.
Yeah, which is very common in that neighborhood.
And Jim did the calculations and said they're right?
Correct.
Correct.
Yeah, he did.
All right. Does the board have other questions for the applicant?
Not questions, but comments. My first comment is regarding abutters. It appears that the abutters and neighbors have all been given an opportunity to respond, and we haven't seen any negatives
Yeah.
yet. We've seen overwhelming positive response to this point. My second comment is, I thought that I saw something in Jim's notes that I did not print and bring with me, but you may have them, Wayne, his
Yeah.
memo from today.
Yeah, sure.
That the,
From today?
from today, yes.
Oh, I didn't see that.
The bulkhead, he made reference to the bulkhead, as long as it's less than 30 square feet, it can be within the setback, and it appears to be, if I'm reading these measurements correct, it's north of 30 square feet. I don't know if that can be adjusted. I know that bulkheads are sort of a stock item. I don't know if they have different sizes or what, but this is, the measurements here are showing 5.67 by 6.0. And I wasn't a math major, but that sounds like just north of 30 square feet. So I don't know if that would run afoul of,
But not all of it's in the,
Yeah, most of it's,
some of it's outside the 15.
most of it's within the
Okay.
setback area.
okay,
Yeah,
all
the
right.
portion that's got to
What's the new nonconformity?
be less than,
The new nonconformity is only the
So-
lot coverage.
What's in the setback is less than 30 square feet, so then it is compliant. Okay, fair enough.
Oh, okay, I see.
I think the only new nonconformity I see is lot coverage, building coverage.
So that's not increasing an existing nonconformity, that's creating a new one.
That is. And that is why they want the use of the 3% thing. All right, is
Okay.
there anybody here who would like to speak to this application? Okay. Board have a preference as to how you'd like to proceed?
So Judy, would you like them to work on it? No? Is
I'd
that
like
what
to
you?
see if they can meet any of the design
Sure.
review board's comments. I mean, I don't want to throw their project out, but it's in a lot of comments and,
Agreed.
you know, see what you can do to try to address more of those.
And get the septic plan
Yeah,
in order.
or at least confirm with Lauren that it's okay.
right.
Although we got a memo.
We got a memo, though, from the Board of Health saying they'd approve the design, so,
I didn't approve
Oh,
it. Tracy
right.
did.
We got literally a memo from Lauren that says it's
Yeah.
okay.
All right.
yeah, approve an application for disposal works construction permit, system construction permit.
There's design data on the proposed plan that Tracy approved. I can share it if you want to take a look at it.
I've just never seen somebody show a compliant system and then propose to build something different. Seems kind of strange.
All right.
It
So we
does.
should definitely get that squared away.
Yeah, I
I
agree.
don't know, at least double check or make
Right,
sure that's
well-
okay to do it that way.
Right.
Yeah, that makes
Good
sense.
thing.
All right, so,
One of the other comments or questions I had is, does our height requirement say anything else about, I mean, on the design plans, it indicates that it's 29.2 feet to the midpoint of the main roof. And it seems to me as though the roof is mainly a bunch of dormers that sit quite a bit higher. It's more or less a three-story house.
That's
Oh,
exactly what it is.
it is a three-story house.
But, you know, if our zoning regs do allow that for height, then there isn't much we can do about it, other than get Wayne to change it for the next annual town meeting.
Well, but they're asking to change a non-conforming structure. So, I mean, we do have some right here to review whether the impact of this increase in height does create issues, which I think is what the design review board was trying to get at, with the dormer and so forth, it's just now the bulk that's added to this building all the way up is significant.
Yeah, if it's going up 3 stories all the way around, then
Right.
maybe we should get somebody to show us how the sun's gonna look in the neighbor's house.
Well, I think short of making them, I mean, I understand what you're saying about shadow study, but short of making them do that, I'd like to see if they can maybe make some modifications here that would be substantive to address some of these comments from the design review board without throwing their entire project out the window.
so Freeman, I'm just trying to take in your comment about the height. So, I think your point is that there are these dormers but all of them are and no higher than the existing, or the proposed new roof line, right?
The height requirement, yes. It's 75% dormers, well above that
Right.
midpoint to the roof of the main roof. I mean, the roof is mainly dormers and not,
We need to look at the height regulation in Duxbury.
definitely.
I can see more of this
Soon.
coming.
We keep going through this on Gurnett Road.
I know.
And everybody's building a 3-story house. This is not a 2.5-story house.
I know, it's not.
Look at the floor plan for the 3rd story and
It's a master suite.
with a huge exercise room.
Right. Yeah.
All right,
So, anyway, that's my suggestion.
that we continue it.
Yeah.
Suggest that they meet again with the design review board.
Yeah,
And then also square away the septic plan.
yes, yeah. Just so we know what we're approving, but, I mean, I'd like to see, again, I don't expect them to throw their entire project out, but I'd like to see them do something to address some of these substantive comments. You know, the oval window adjacent to the garage. I get the comment, but I'm not as disturbed about that as I am about the impact of this height, which I do get what that comment's about.
Right, I get it, and in some way, although I do really value what the design review board provides.
It's going from 500 to 3,500
I know,
It's huge. I mean, it's not huge, but I mean, it's a big change.
on a tiny lot, 3,500 square foot on a,
15.15 acre lot.
Yeah,
which is, yeah.
wow.
I would think if they could get rid of the sheds
Yep.
so that the front facade wasn't so bulky.
Yes, exactly.
Keep
That's
the-
what that comment's about.
Keep the gable in the front, keep the doghouse dormer in the front, keep the shed dormer in the back, but make it look like a 2.5-story house instead of a 3,
Exactly. Right.
somehow.
Yeah,
Make the exercise room the bedroom, something of that nature.
Yeah.
I'll be candid. The design review board's recommendations with respect to some of the massing issues, I fully understand.
Yeah.
I'm of the mind that you can have whatever garage door you want, and you can have whatever windows you want, and you can paint it whatever color you want.
And even the overhang on the front that goes over the front door, I actually think in looking at and I know this is a matter of
Taste.
and individual perception, but I think it looks better with it the way it's drawn than it might if it were just an overhang over the front door.
Yeah,
So, there's some stuff here that I think doesn't require as much revision as some of the other points.
Yeah.
But I agree that some work with the architect to try to come up with something that's agreeable to the applicant
Yeah.
that takes the design review board's concerns into account would be helpful.
The height, massing, and scale comments, I think, are what we're focusing in on more
Yeah.
than the architectural details.
right.
Now that you mention it, I'm wondering if those overhangs on the front and over the garage door are
Are they counting?
accounted for in the coverage.
We're only allowing 6 inches, right? What do we
I think it
allow?
was 10,
10 inches?
8 or 10.
Remember that?
God, we went through
I
this on
do-
another project, wasn't it?
Yes, I do remember
this.
that, and I remembered that we didn't have an answer for that.
But we gave them a number. It was.
It was a foot.
Was it a foot? Okay. After the foot, it was coverage.
So how far do these overhangs stick out?
Trying to figure that out.
I don't know. I don't know.
I should say on the, there.
We don't have a specific measurement, but they appear to be somewhere in that 1 to 2 feet.
Next time, could you come up with that specific measurement?
2, and then,
Because generally, we've allowed 1 foot, nothing beyond, and then it becomes coverage.
Yeah.
And you're pushing the coverage limit is the issue. All right.
Can I
interject for a second? I'm
Sure.
sorry.
Yeah, hi.
Hi, thank you. I'm not sure if I'm sitting on this or not because we have enough people, but I just did have a comment. There is a basement that the architect could probably work with if you finish that off and maybe put the gym in the basement and then reduce the massing on what is looking to be the third floor. It might be, more conducive to making it not look like a 3-story. Just a thought.
So what I would propose is that we continue this to the next hearing date, which is not going to be until September.
September.
The first Tuesday in September, the second Tuesday in September.
But that should give the applicant ample time in
Right.
which to confer with the design review board, work through whatever
Yeah.
issues, and before the applicant comes back, I think that it would benefit the application if they at least were prepared to address where the design review board was at.
Yeah.
We're prepared to address the septic and reserve issue. And quite frankly, we're prepared to address the size of the overhang so we can make sure that the lot coverage calculations comport.
I think that's fine.
All right, I'm so moved.
Second.
All right. All in favor, aye, Wayne.
Hi, Judy.
I Emmett.
Hi, Phil.
I, Freeman,
Okay.
What about I, Tanya?
Tanya's our backup.
Tanya's the backup.
Back up to it, yeah.
All right, so we've continued this hearing until the 12th of September with some specific guidance as to how we move forward from here.
Yeah. And we look forward to seeing you then. And, good luck trying to work through some of these issues. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you all.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Welcome back to town.
Good, everybody.
And hold on.
almost. All right, we have minutes?
No.
There are no minutes? Anything else we need to do tonight?
No.
Okay,
That's everything.
so I'm going to move to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor? I win.
Hi, Phil.
I, Freeman.
I Emmett.
Night, Tanya.
Good night.